love this. I love the warmth wand on the eyes as well. I mean, I haven't blended this out yet. Okay, so I'm just going to take the Dual Vegan eye blender, and I'm going to softly blend out just the top line. And see how blendable it is? It's so easy to blend this product. That's why I really like it for eyes. I think if you're a beginner with makeup, using a cream on the eyes is a really good idea. So that has just really knocked that back. Now I'm going to go in with the illuminator and I'm going to just pat it over the lighter section. Like that. And what this does is it just creates space on the lid and makes your eyes look quite a bit bigger. Then I'm going to take the fluffy end and I'm going to go into the Summer Kiss and just sweep it over the top of that crease. And look how pretty that is. It's all going to depend on the shape of your eyes. So remember, what I'm doing on my eyes is not necessarily going to look the same on your eyes. So it depends shape of eye you have, how big your eyes are, how much lid space you have. Like, it is all going to depend on that, but you can use the same color palette and the same techniques to get a similar finish. I'm now going to go in with the Peach Punch. So I'm going into that peachy shade out of the Glow palette. And I'm just going to sweep that over the top of the brown. Just going underneath with that bronzer shade. So taking a black eyeliner, I'm going to tightline underneath my lashes. So just on that inner waterline underneath the lash bed. Just softly, it's obviously very sensitive. And then I'm going to take that same black pencil and gently, really gently, create that little lift, like that. And then I'm going to take it on the top, but I'm going to keep it really, really close. So it's not going to be a very thick line, like that. And then turning my head away from the mirror so I've got better access to that inner eye. And I'm just going to connect like that. Then I'm going to take it very, very softly on the waterline underneath. Like that. And I'm just going to gently, really gently take that out a little wider and then blend it out like that. Now with this side I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm just going to start under the eye. So just gently. And then that outer corner again. This is the difficult bit, I think, as we get older, because you've got a bit of a fold in the lid. And you just have to try and not worry about it. Literally work really light. And just go straight over the top of the fold. And then at the end is when I sharpen it and make it a little thinner. Then we're going to work onto the top of the lid again. Really soft, short strokes. And we don't want this to be too thick. Then moving your face away from the mirror for that inner corner access makes it so much easier. You're going under the eye and have your head lowered, because that opens that area up and it's easier to get to. So this is the blackest black eyeliner that I'm using from Runway Room. I like this because it's great for sensitive eyes. It's soft and blendable, but it will not run or smudge, especially if you set it with powder, which is what I'm going to do. Now remember to connect this little bit out on the outer corner. So this little bit in here, the top bit underneath and the waterline, make sure you connect it and there's no little bits peeking through. So if they've come out a little thick, which often with a pencil they will be a little thick, you want to just thicken that a slight bit on that outer corner, and then I'm going to blend. I'm going to go back in with that bronzer again and just diffuse that under eye area. That is what it's looking like. At this point, you might want to just go in with a little bit of extra bronzer, just to give a little bit more depth. I absolutely love the Glow palette on the eyes. I feel like every time I try to do anything else, this is always my go-to. I always come back to this. It's just so beautiful and subtle, but really has an impact. Okay, that is, actually I might just need to add a little bit. Always at the end of doing your eyes, always stand back and look at it and go, right, where do I need to even it up? Where do I need to go back in with a little bit more impact? So even though you might have done this at the start of the makeup and you feel like that step's done, what gives you a really clean and defined finish is going back in and adding that intensity at the very end once everything else is done. Now I'm just going to tap in some of this base blur. People have asked me about this powder and whether they should be using a denser brush. Yes, you could use a denser brush like this if you want to get more product by tapping into the net. The other way is to continue using your glow up brush, but just tap some product. So I like to put it on a hard surface and I tap it into the lid. That way you're going to get a lot more product on your brush. So the net is there to take off excess product. Whereas if you want more, because you're wanting more coverage, which often for sort of these areas around the jaw, you do, that's what I do. I just tap the product into the lid and you'll get more product and therefore you'll get a heavier coverage. And then for the areas where you want lighter coverage, you can just bounce it into the net. Now my brows need thickening and darkening, and I'm going to trial a cream again. We are bringing creams out for brows, which I've been loving the cream. What I like about it is I can make a really nice outline. So I'm just going to show you. I can create a really good shape, I find, with the cream. And also the cream, because it's a gel, it does tend to hold your brows in place quite well. So instead of going in with a clear gel and then a powder, pencil, wax, whatever you've been using, you can just use the one product. And it's really, really quick. I'm finding it's not as fiddly. I can just go straight in and voila. And a tip with your eyebrows is always try to make your eyebrows a little bit longer. And make sure that when you are creating length, you're going outways and you're not curving down. So we don't want to bring the eyebrow down. We want to take it out and up if possible. Obviously it depends on the shape of your brow, but try to push it straight out rather than curving down. And if you have a very obvious curve, sometimes it will look better if you try to flatten out the curve a bit. And by that I mean, rather than accentuating it by colouring in that arch, I mean try to sort of, with your brow product, try to sort of fill in that arch just a little, and it will just create more of like a straighter appearance, and it will have a huge difference to the way your overall face will look. So eyebrows, the old saying goes, they are sisters, not twins. So don't ever try to get them exactly the same. They're never going to look exactly the same. And it's the same with your eye makeup. often I'll find that one eye the wing will look different, or the shadow has sat or grabbed differently, and that's because our faces are not perfectly symmetrical. So don't worry, no one's looking that closely and that intensely, and no one expects it to be perfect. As long as the overall look looks good and it's enhancing the bits of your face you want it to, and the brows are deepened and lengthened and framing your face, that's what we want. Alrighty, and now just popping some Power Lash mascara over the top. I've got mascara on, but just popping some over the top. This is a really volumizing mascara, so it's perfect for this look. And if I really wanted to go that extra step, I would, can you see that? I would pop a half lash on as well. One of my eyes has got longer, thicker lashes than the other, which is really frustrating. Literally looks like someone else's eye. So I don't know why, but this eye that I'm doing right now doesn't seem to have as much volume or length as that eye. So anyway, always takes me longer to get the mascara on that eye. Now, mascara is another one of those time-consuming things that I find people tend to rush through, and that's why your mascara is not going to look as good as what it will if, say, a makeup artist does it. So my advice to you is, if you've got an important makeup and you're wanting to look extra special, take the time to do the layers of mascara. So I'll always do a couple of layers, and then I'll go back in and I'll just go over the mid-lengths and ends, and that's what gives you that really volumized looking lash, because it just coats, once you've done a layer, it'll just put that second coat on and really give you a nice full lash. I'm going to use the Summer Kiss bronzer, trialing a new brush. I love this brush because it's going to give me that nice control. So I want to just sculpt my cheeks. Look at that. That just instantly carves in my cheekbones. Then I'm going to use the flatter side of the brush and dust it up over my forehead. Carving in again. So beautiful. And then just reinforcing that snatched jawline. Of course, we've got the warmth one down there, but just going over it with some powder, but also just reinforce that covering up of the jowls. I'm going to go in with the Glow palette again. I'm going to go in with a little bit of the illuminator just on that upper cheekbone, like that. And then I'm going to go in with the Pink Punch. Is that pink or peach? I think it's pink. And I feel like I prefer the Glow palette for the blush. I mean, the Glow Up brush. I don't know if this is a little too grabby. And then I'm going to go in with the Pink Frost. So this is the blush topper you see me talking about. And I want you to see how I apply it right up under the eye and across the top of the cheekbone. And this is going to give that beautiful sort of lit up and illuminated and glowy under eye like that. So pretty. And now I'm going in again with that beautiful blush topper, and I'm going to stipple that just because of where I am placing it, and then I'll start swiping. Oh, that's so pretty. Look at that. So that's a little deeper and that's softer. The thing to know about our products is they can look quite scary, particularly like our Glow palette. People look at it and This fringe is driving me nuts. Particularly our glow palette. People can look at it and get quite frightened off by the polarizing shades, but they can go on so subtle. Look at that. That's so soft. And overall, it doesn't really matter your skin tone. It depends. So if you're really, really fair, you might want to go for our Cool Glow palette if this is just too dark for you. But even fair skin, you just use more illuminator and you go softer. So a little bit of peach punch with the illuminator and you get a soft peachy pearly glow. And if you're a deeper skin tone, you go stronger with the peach and less of the illuminator. So you'll go more the peach and it will come out like a stronger pigment, but on a deeper skin tone, it will look better. So to finish this off, I'm going to be using the Lenny Lip Kit. This is the Cushy Lips liner. So it's a soft nudie pink. And then it has the Simply Suede gloss. It is so pretty and subtle. Hello, honey. Got a little visitor. And this is the Simply Suede gloss. I love this shade. It is beautiful. And that goes over the top. So if you are someone who likes a soft nude lip, you're going to love this lip kit. It's particularly nice for bridal. And here is the finished look. Super easy, just need to take your time. Use the right brushes, don't use too much pressure, and make sure you take that extra time to do those extra little steps that make all the difference. I hope you enjoyed.